What's up, guys? This is Lucky. What's up, people? Today we're going to talk Taken King, to buy or not to buy. That is the question. This will be a completely spoiler-free review. The footage is actually from Iron Banner several weeks back. Just a little something to kind of keep you entertained, various streaks and so on and such forth. And so, but today we're going to talk about Taken King, whether or not I should buy it. And then I will let you know what my final decision was, for those of you who do not already know. Playing with my good friend the Hawk Moon. Oh my gosh, that was the worst grenade ever. Boom, bada boom. Oh, I love the Hawk Moon. This is a beautiful and sexy hand cannon, and even after patch 2.0, still fantastic gun. But now, on to Taken King. Now, the reviews for Taken King have been really stellar. 8s and 9s. IGN gave it a 9. And GameSpot gave it an 8 to 10. Awesome reviews. Look, it's like ducks at the fair. Just look at it. So yeah, it's gotten really awesome reviews, and so we're going to talk about those reviews. We're going to talk about my own thoughts, and we're just going to talk also a little bit about the philosophical decisions involved in doing it. Now, it runs $40 retail. If you already own Destiny, you already have the disc, and you bought the previous 2 expansions. And now, if you buy it totally brand new, you're a completely new Destiny player for $60. You'll get the Taken King, you'll get the original game, and you'll get the first 2 expansions, all for $60. And I'm going to come right out and say that I think that actually is fair value. Like, if you've never got into the game before, $60 for all that content is extremely fair value, and that's a really good deal. And this is your chance, I feel like, for you to try Destiny. Now, a story of Taken King, it runs about a 4 to 6 hour campaign, hours and hours of missions, extra quests, all kinds of other side content, so on and forth. The story is radically improved. They replaced Peter Dinklage as your ghost, basically your helpful little robot friend. And although the lines are still terrible, Nolan North does an awesome job as that. And it's a little bizarre, I admit, hearing Nathan Drake be the voice of the ghost. But hey, man, it works. So it does expose some problems with the dialogue, I feel like, in the original story. But if you've played Destiny for a while, there's some nice little kind of inside jokes in there. But overall, let's just talk about the story of the Taken King itself. They did what they didn't do in the first game, is they develop all these secondary characters that you meet, these people in the tower, and they give basically the world and the people around you a sense of personality. And it is a much needed improvement, and everybody in general seems to feel like, you know, it's really extremely solid story-wise. So that's really good. The second, they've completely overhauled basically the quest system, added quests, so there's always content for you to do. You always know, what you need to do to further your progress and what kind of rewards it will bring, and so on and so forth. It's a lot easier to track your progress, track your bounties. You can take more bounties. They fix spaces with your vault. So your vault is how much stuff you can keep, and Destiny is a game about collecting different guns, collecting different weapons, because let's face it, I mean, the one thing Destiny absolutely completely got right the first time around is the gunplay feels fun. The gunplay feels satisfying. It's fun trying out all these different weapons and stuff, and it's fun collecting them and getting different loot and all that type of thing. So, I mean, that's the one thing that Destiny nailed this time around. And but it became a problem when you had like tons of it, because you were constantly having to delete it and manage stuff, and they fixed all the issues with that. And then they have a new collections system, which is just, man, it's so needed. Machine gun. It is very nice improvements. So they've completely overhauled that. They've overhauled the experience system. They separated your light level from your actual character level, and it just seems to make much more sense now, and I think that they've done a fantastic job in that regard. They've added new strikes. They've added supposedly what is going to be one of the best raids in the game, bringing the number of raids up to 3. So you have the Vault of Glass raid, you have the Crota's End raid, and then now you have the new King's Fall raid, which is supposed to be amazing in-game content if you actually have, people to play with. I speak the Vault of Glass and the other raids were lots of fun. The Vault of Glass is one of the better gaming experiences I've ever had in my entire life. And it almost justified the price of Destiny, but didn't. But that's different. We'll get into that. They've also taken some of the older strikes and they've embedded them with the lore of the current Taken King storyline and overhaul them, and they work lots better. And in general, the new strikes they've added have much more interesting gameplay mechanics. It's just not all run and gun and shoot and blast people. The bosses aren't all bullet sponges. And it's just, in general, they've done a really good job. And it's really Destiny is kind of where it should have been the day that it was released, so to speak. They've taken in all this feedback over the course of the year from the community, and they really have formulated something special. But let's talk about some of the negatives, okay? Once again, when you finish the actual content there, you're doing a lot of the same things over again. Admittedly, there's a much wider variety of things, so you're a lot less likely to get bored than you did the original. They fixed some of the main problems with farming, but they've also created some new farming issues, like the currency system and soft cap on the amount of currency that you can have, legendary marks, just to kind of keep you from progressing as fast, playing at your own pace, so to speak. And I have kind of an issue with that. I'm a person of limited time, but when I do get time, I just want to jam it out. I don't want to have to only be able to play for a little bit and then wait for the next day or the next week to be able to get that play in. But on the flip side, I understand that there's players out there who don't have jobs and don't have real lives, and they would just play all the time, and then I would be completely outpaced. So it's probably a good thing for me in the long run, but nevertheless, it is what it is. They've also done this wonderful thing where they shoulder charge.
You captured Zone B.
They've done this wonderful thing where they have locked out a ton of the year one content, basically, and it's still there. Oh, look between the nuts. Yeah, buddy. They've done this thing where they have the content is there and you play it. But a lot of the gear and stuff that you get from the year one activities, the first raid gear from the first 2 raids, is virtually worthless. You can't level it up. More than half, like 60% of the exotics, basically you cannot be leveled up, and they're basically useless. I mean, you might be able to use them in PvP where everything is normalized, but for the most part, those guns are completely obsolete. And the armor, like the armor sets that you had and that you loved, and you finally got your character to the place where you really, really liked the way your character looked, after years worth of work, forget it. You got to completely start all over again. And that is absolutely maddening. I mean, what is the point of me collecting this stuff if I can't take it to the next level? I understand that there was some balance issues with a few guns, the Thorn and the Gallahorn, potentially even the Icebreaker. You need some nerf on those. Maybe you leave a small percentage of things behind. There's no reason at all why the armor can't come along with it. I mean, I got some hunter boots basically that allow me to do a quadruple jump. Why? I've hardly ever, I haven't even got a chance to level them.
Zone B.
But why is that not something? It was not OP. It's rarely used exotic. Why is that not something that I can't bring up to the next light level? And that just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. And in fact, I find it outright aggravating. I mean, you basically said, taking all the time that I put into this game and make it worthless. I mean, yeah, I had fun getting it, but you took my reward away. You know what I'm saying? It's like someone works really hard for a present or a toy or something, and then you hand it to them, and before they get to fully enjoy it, they don't get to keep it. It's like on lease or something, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, who steals? I mean, what other game does that? Gives you a game, lets you play that game for a limited amount of time, and really, at every single time they've released an expansion, at every 4 months, they have basically obsoleted all the stuff before that until the House of Wolves expansion, and then they gave you a method for taking that gear and bringing it up to the max level. So really, just in the last few months have I actually got the stuff I really wanted to get leveled up, and then they've gone and basically taken that. And I have issues with that. And but it plays in to this philosophy that Bungie has, which is the core. And this is my philosophical. And here we're gonna get philosophical. I mean, for me, you know, it seems like from the reviews, obviously, that they've answered, is the content there? You know, the content is there, but clearly, is Bungie a company that morally I want to support? Now, let me talk a little bit about this. It's become pretty obvious over the last year or so that prior to Destiny being released, I don't know if you know this or not, but Bungie's lead writer, who had been with them for years and years and basically wrote the entire Destiny lore and the story, left unexpectedly a year before the release with no explanation whatsoever. Now, this is someone who spent years and years of time working on this, and there's tons of articles and Reddit posts. I'm sure if you go looking for it, you'll find it, and there's great videos that go in depth to kind of like the speculation. We also know that one of the co-founders, the composer for Halo and a lot of the Destiny music, Marty O'Donnell, was also let go from the company, and they said he was fired. He sued them, and they lost in court. And then through those court documents, we learned confirmation that a year prior to Destiny's release, the story was radically changed. Now take that with, there's a fairly famous Reddit post by someone who supposedly did Q&A testing for Destiny about a year before release, and he talks about a completely different story. He talks about a story where there's characters, and there's this meta story where you go and you meet this character, the Crow, and you learn the true nature of the Traveler, and this really kind of dark, twisted tale. And it's completely different. Lots more locations and stuff. And it's completely different than this end version of the actual game that was released last September, which was just short, and honestly, it was just utter junk as far as story goes. So, I mean, it was. I mean, it was a joke then. It's still a joke when I think back about it. I play back through some of those missions, and it's just, it was, you can tell it's been gutted. And not only that, is through these Reddit posts and through these different sources, if you read between the lines, it looks like, obviously without verification, that a lot of the content that was in the original story was yanked out and put into DLC, basically. Now, did Activision force Bungie to do that? That's one theory. Another theory is that there's people within Bungie who made that decision. You know, my personal belief is that there was a tug of war that took place within Bungie, within the ranks of Bungie, basically for kind of control over the soul of the company. competing ideas, where you had one group of people who really wanted to build this really awesome, freaking amazing story that had huge, wide open areas to free roam and stuff, with an in-depth story and lots of characters and stuff. I like a really high quality game. And then there's this other side of the story where they wanted to basically capitalize on their investment, and they felt like they could give gamers the least amount possible for the most money. Now, there's an interesting article about out there. Oh, hang on.
Enemy captured Zone C.
About a guy who works for him. He's also one of the lead guys. He's been with Bungie since the Halo days, and he's got a PhD in behavioral and brain science. John Hobson. He's basically a doctor. He graduated Duke. Extremely brilliant guy. And he worked at Bungie forever, and he wrote this long article explaining formulas to get gamers addicted to games. And it's based loosely on a Skinner behavioral theory. Basically, you know, Skinner learned that you don't want to give a reward every time, but you want to give rewards randomly to gamers. And so that is exactly what Destiny's loot system is like, that RNG, where you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. And they hold the carrot out in front of you to keep you playing for more and more and more and more. And that is the philosophy that Bungie has embraced. So, do you purchase this game that is going to make all your effort chasing that carrot worthless every 4 months to get you to buy the new carrot, you know, or not buy it? And then you have basically what Luke Smith said. He had this huge controversy in June recently of this year, where he basically let it spill about, because the collector's edition was much more, and it had included, you had to buy the whole game again just to get basically these dance emotes, which is something that anyone who played Destiny really, really wants. And he made this comment that gamers would just throw money at the screen. Now they've backtracked and backpedaled since then and said, oh, it was taken out of context and stuff, but that's what he really meant. They know that people will throw money out for nothing, and they're playing off of that, and they're going to continue to give the least amount of effort possible to gamers. And so should we as a community, as gamers, support that? You know, and I'm really torn, because on the one hand, 2 months until Battlefront, not a lot of games out there. $40, it's no big deal to me. I mean, I'll get my money's worth. But on the other hand, do I support what I feel like is pretty skanky, schemerish business practices? And yeah, I confess, I folded. I bought the stupid thing because, like I said, I don't have anything to play for 2 months. I'm gonna get my money's worth. $40 isn't that big of a deal. But this is the end of the line for me. It did live up to the value. I would recommend anyone who hasn't bought Destiny before, you're getting a lot of content for $60. I would not be sucked into the next rounds of expansions, and I will not be someone being sucked into Destiny Year 2. But for the time being, this will work. And I finally got kind of something even remotely kind of close to a game I kind of hoped I would get a year ago when I first bought it. So you guys, y'all tell me, what do you think? Buy it, don't buy it, to buy or not to buy? Did you buy it? What do you think of it? And if not, you know, what are your reasons and why not? Maybe it's just not the type of game for you. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. For right now, this is Lucky signing out. Peace.
Good work, Guardian. Your light is strong.